How's it going, guys? Rafa here. Just wanted to say something real quick before we get into the pod today. If you guys missed it, there was an auction on the BODHI Performance website for a Zane Navratil signed paddle from his time on the PPA Asia Tour. That's already passed, unfortunately. However, the cool thing for me wasn't necessarily even the auction, but it was actually the edge tape that Zane was using. So he was using a collab between BODHI Performance and Basil the dog, and 50% of proceeds from that edge tape, which are still live on the website, are actually going to Austin Pets Alive, which actually creates programs to save pets from euthanasia. And Maya, come here. Come on. And this is my little dog, Maya. She's 2 years old and she is amazing. And I just love all things that benefit pets or make their lives better. So isn't she really cute? All right. So just wanted to bring that up to you guys. If you guys ever see any causes like that, I'm always looking for opportunities to promote those on the pod. So please put them in the comments down below or DM them to me on Instagram at PBTechDude. But with that said, I think this one is one that you should definitely check out. And let's go ahead and get into the rest of the pod. Oh, and the link to BODHI Performance's website is in the description. My discount code Rafa gets you 15% off over there. I already let Maya go, unfortunately, but let me know in the comments if you think Maya should make another guest appearance in another video when it's sitting there.
Yeah, when I wear them every day.
Literally. All right, everybody. Well, okay. Welcome back to another episode of This Week in Pickleball. I'm Rafa.
I'm Aaron.
All right, y'all. So, Aaron, let's go ahead and dive in today. We have a very short stack in terms of paddles. But for now, let's jump into the question of the day. So, Aaron, the weather is getting a lot better outside. It's getting less hot, especially here in Texas. It's a big deal. We're approaching the fall season. We have a lot of really good indoor facilities, though. Outdoor pickleball is great, but we have a lot of indoor facilities now, especially here in DFW. So, for you, yay or nay on playing pickleball outdoors now when the weather is good?
Nay.
Like, period.
I just don't like the sun. You know? I think I used to primarily coach outdoors. So the first 2 years of my coaching life was all outdoor coaching. And I had like real funky tans, and I was going to the dermatologist every year to check like for sunspots and all this.
Yeah.
And so now that I've been coaching indoors, I'm like, I feel just better about, my health.
Yeah. I suppose that's fair. Yeah. My thing, I'm with you. I don't know if I will really ever play outdoors unless I really want to, or like I haven't played in a long time or something.
Or if like the weather's like 75.
Sure, yeah. My thing is wind. Like, there are no facilities outdoors that are good facilities and have good wind protection. It's like, they're practically mutually exclusive. So that's what really sucks for me. There's nothing worse than going out and feeling like the game is being completely impacted by the wind.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've noticed in like Texas and the outdoor tournaments. So every time like the Texas Open comes here, it's like 25 mile per hour gusts, and the ball is just like kind of unpredictable.
Yeah.
So then you're like, oh crap, I got to play outside for about a month to like get used to this stuff again. And then you kind of also forget about that. Even when you don't feel wind, there's like wind.
The air resistance is different.
Air resistance
outside.
is different, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, I would play outdoors if I'm casually playing or like playing with friends. Or it's just like, I have friends that play very on occasion and aren't super good and competitive. So I'll play outdoors with them, especially if it's like, because a lot of people are going to prefer indoors, so a lot of times those courts get booked up. Not a problem here at PU, typically, because there's 24 courts here. Yeah. 26 if you include the championship BODHI center courts down there. But yeah, so indoor over outdoor consensus.
For sure.
Period.
Unless it's 50 degrees, no wind.
Okay. Unless it's between 50 and 70 with no wind.
Yeah. Then I'd play outdoors.
Okay, there we go. Alrighty, let's jump into paddles number one of the day here. So what we are looking at right now is newest paddles, I should say, from Engage. So I'm holding the Alpha Pro elongated 14 mil. You are holding the ProFoam
ProFoam elongated 14.
14. Two different, let's just start off with this that annoys me. Two different shapes, but both sort of being marketed as elongated. Like, yes, they are the same length.
Are they? I think when I looked at them, this one's actually longer. Yeah, they're not.
They're not even the same length.
Yeah.
Okay.
The elongated is actually an elongated, and the hybrid's a hybrid.
Okay, so shout out first and foremost to Engage for the naming convention on the shapes. Okay, we're having another diadem moment here. But let's get past that. So let's start, actually, let's hold each other. So right now, what you spent the most time on was the Alpha Pro elongated 14, which is not elongated, it's actually hybrid.
Hybrid. I thought it felt pretty short.
Yeah, and now you know. Now we know why.
Yeah.
So tell me what your experience has been like with this paddle. What does it feel like? What's the power like? How's that been?
It is a low power paddle, full foam. The thing about this is it's a pretty muted feel.
Okay.
The grit, and it has good grit, and you get decent spin, and you get decent power. But for me, it's just, I think you don't feel the ball well enough on it. Like, you can definitely tell that this is a foam paddle. And it feels, I don't know what the technology is in this, but it honestly feels like a solid block of foam.
Yeah.
Very much like an 008, a Selkirk 008,
Sure.
with just a little bit more feel.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. I felt really similar. I've hit this paddle more recently than you have, so that's where I sort of drew this conclusion from. It felt very similar to, funnily enough, the Alpha Pro Power from 11.624. And that is actually very similar to what this paddle is constructed like. So it does have polypropylene core in the middle. It's their own formulation.
On this one?
On this one.
But I thought it feels like a foam block.
I think it does feel like foam. I kind of, you get a similar feel on the Alpha Pro Power from 11.624. It's sort of a denser feel, like you said, more muted feel than you would get on a traditional floating core. Even a traditional floating core Gen 3, like the SLK era, feels more responsive than what these feel like. I honestly like that feeling. I like I like foam paddles, so I like that the Alpha Pro has more of that muted ball feel. It also, I feel like you mentioned it was a low. When you say low power paddle, do you mean a power paddle on the low end, or do you mean like it is a control paddle?
No, it is a power paddle, but low power.
Okay, gotcha.
Like probably along the lines of like a Selkirk era.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that type of power, but the feeling of an 11.624 Alpha Pro. Ironically enough, considering that that's the name, it's kind of, I wonder if there was any inspiration there. Obviously that one is weighted up to your preference. I like the weight setup you have on it. There in the throat area.
I got some on the butt.
I got some on the butt too. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
My ghetto slice cap.
I was gonna say either slice cap or I should flick weight. I love flick weights, man. Flick weights are great. So now let's talk the ProFoam elongated 14. So this is, I believe, the only Engage paddle that is dual approved.
This one's dual.
UPA, USAP. Oh, it is. Okay, so it's both of these.
Yeah, both
so
14
both of these, but
millimeters
only the
are-
14
yes,
mils.
Yes.
Yeah. So both the ProFoam and Alpha Pro 14 mil, just for the record, are UPA approved. I'm not sure if they even made a 16 mil, but if they did, that one would not be. That would just be USAP approved. So obviously the ProFoam is a true elongated, has a thicker neck taper here, a la Yola Perseus, that I'm not super in love with. But
I think it looks more rounded.
it does. Yes, it doesn't look as sharp as the Alpha Pro does.
Or like a bread and butter, like a Loco. Like the Loco has like a nice, like you can tell like it's elongated.
Yeah.
This is like a hybrid bottom, elongated top.
Yeah, which could be fair enough to Engage to expand the sweet spot, which is important on a 14 mil paddle to begin with. But yeah, tell me what you felt difference-wise, considering that you've hit the Alpha Pro longer than I did. What did you feel difference-wise when hitting the ProFoam?
I feel more connected actually on the ProFoam.
Okay. So it's easier to feel the ball.
Easier to feel the ball.
Okay.
For sure.
And then from a power perspective, is it higher or lower to you?
It is lower on the power side than the Alpha Pro.
Gotcha. Yeah, I
would say this actually is more of an all-court paddle that has a little bit more power. This is a power paddle that has a little bit more control, I guess. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So they're probably like here and here.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
So Alpha Pro elongated. I don't know how you can't, if you're listening, you can't see this.
But yeah,
here, and then the ProFoam is like right here.
Yeah, if ProFoam is like 60th percentile, then Alpha Pro is probably like 75th, right? Somewhere in that arena. But yeah, definitely more of an all-court paddle to me. Definitely, like you said, more connected to the ball, a little bit softer, easier to, more manual input required to get the same result. ProFoam is, as the name implies, it's foam. This is Gen 4. Solid foam block going on here.
Might just check the warranties real quick on this. Keep talking about that.
Feel free to. But yeah, my problem with the ProFoam is that I think that there are better foam paddles that exist. I really actually like the control feeling you get off this. You're able to absorb more pacey balls really easily.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the sweet spot on this stock feels a lot better than this one.
Yeah.
Shockingly. Yeah. So the elongated ProFoam, we're saying, has a slightly larger stock sweet spot than the Alpha Pro.
Correct. Yeah. Again, somewhat surprisingly, I would always think that, or for me, hybrid paddles typically are a little bit bigger in the sweet spot department. But this one felt good. It just felt very average and everything else. Like if you wanted a control / all court oriented foam paddle right now, I feel like the enhanced Gen 4.5 is really your competition right now. Or even,
well, it's hard because how much does that one cost?
This is $230. So the ProFoam is $230. The Alpha Pro is $260.
Yes. No, the Gen 4.5.
The Gen 4.5 is $180.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? So if you were to compare the ProFoam to its competition, being the enhanced Gen 4.5 and any other foam paddle that I may not be thinking of that is sub 200, I don't think I've hit one that is necessarily like that. They're just as good as
the one
ProFoam.
Thing that is nice about both these Engage pads, so I just checked, is that they both have limited lifetime warranties.
Okay.
So if you are worried about core crushing or manufacturer defects and things like that, then it's an okay deal, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
And I will say, some of the longest lasting paddles that I've seen people play with are like those OG Engage paddles.
The Engage MX 6.0 Pursuit, whatever.
Pursuits,
yeah.
Right? With like the target on it. And
yeah.
So I mean, I still see those out there quite a bit. So I mean, that does speak kind of towards Engage's build quality.
Yeah. Engage used to really take a page or maybe it was the other way around, who knows, like Paddle Tech and Engage were kind of in a similar vein of not doing thermoform paddles, doing just Gen 1, but making ones that were actually good and actually durable, which is very smart. These paddles are both thermoformed, so I don't know. So we'll probably just see over time how they last. I think the design is really great. Like if you really love like clean designs, the gradient edge guard with the sort of minimalist.
Oh, remember when you were against gradient edge guards?
I was never against gradient edge guards. I've been against this simplistic design. That's why I say if you're into that, then this is gonna be really nice looking for you. I like a little bit more than this. So like the Alpha Pro has the little sort of diagram of the core on the bottom corner. Just little things like that. I like that. The ProFoam is much cleaner, just design on the sides.
And then honestly, the colorway on the Alpha Pro, or both of these, Alpha Pro and ProFoam, that Jesse Irvin purpley,
the purple,
blue,
pink, whatever.
Pink. It looks so good.
Yeah. Engage is never like. I'm so glad that companies are coming around on gradient edge guards because they've always looked good. I think Neonic might have been the first one that I hit with that had that, and I remember that paddle being like in line for design of the year for me just because of the edge guard.
Yeah.
But yeah, ProFoam at 230 is a tough ask. I think overall I like the performance of the Alpha Pro a little bit more. It gives you a bit more offensive capability, and I really liked the Alpha Pro power from 11.624. So anything that
And you can also get an Alpha Pro in the in the actual elongated shape.
yes, you can.
So it doesn't always come in this hybrid shape. You can get it in the shape that we have the ProFoam in.
Right. So that's another difference there, is I don't believe the ProFoam is available in any other shape, just the elongated.
One thing about these paddles, though, the handles are atrocious.
Oh, why do you say that?
They're so bulky.
They are a little bit bulky.
They're bulky, and the grip feels a little bit cheap. Like it has no real tack or nothing really on it. It feels very plasticky. So like the first thing that I did when I got my Alpha Pro is I took off the stock grip and put on 2 over grips.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more on the cushiony, more like oblong oval type shape as opposed to
very
a
rounded.
square. Yeah, it's pretty rounded. I personally prefer rounded grips, so I didn't notice I didn't notice anything. But yeah, if you are you want like that perfectly square dimensioned kind of thinner grip so that you can putting an overgrip on this, I can tell would be very thick even for my hands. So
and then like the little rubbery thing, I don't know what these things are called.
Yeah.
But the little rubber thing that goes on the handle.
Yeah, that holds the grip.
That holds the grip there. It feels really cheap.
Such a random thing to notice.
I mean, okay, so go grab my Loco. You want to grab my Loco?
Sure.
So if you look at the bread and butter Loco, this paddle's $180, right?
Yeah.
But see how this is like...
It just has a design on it.
It has an and on it, but the edges are like a little bit more rounded and it's a little bit nicer. This is just like a chunky piece of like thick black rubber.
I don't feel a difference.
It's not as nice.
I'm holding the ProFoam and the Loco together. I don't feel a difference in the material. The only difference I see is that there's design on the Loco.
Okay, then put some design on it.
Okay, sure, maybe. I will say, when talking about the Alpha Pro, if you are paying $260 for a paddle, maybe you do want to see something like that to show a bit more effort. Maybe. I don't know. I personally wouldn't care, but maybe some of you would. My thing is that, again, it's another paddle that these are both paddles, both the Alpha Pro and the ProFoam. They feel good. They just don't...
they don't outperform...
They don't outperform their competition. Yeah.
Especially competitors at a cheaper price.
Yeah. That's really how you can define a lot of the paddles that we will hit and talk about moving forward, is we'll always tell you guys what they feel like, especially from a power perspective, paddles that are similar, how they're constructed, things like that. But ultimately what we want is to look at a paddle and be able to tell you, compared to its competition that feels similar, is it going to be better? And for Engage right now, the main advantage they have is that limited lifetime warranty and the dual approval on these paddles in particular. However, when you compare them, if that doesn't matter to you, which this only matters to people playing at the highest level on the PPA Tour, or like at Challenger, right? So if you're like
PPA Tour, they're getting them for free.
Yeah, if you're like 5.0 plus, that matters to you if you're a not sponsored player, but otherwise you're playing by USAP rules. And the ProFoam for me doesn't outperform a good all-court foam paddle like the Enhanced Gen 4.5, and the Alpha Pro, funny enough, does not outperform the Alpha Pro Power from 11.624, which is $60 cheaper already.
I mean, I'm also looking at the Loco because the Loco is way more fun.
But the Loco doesn't even feel similar to
It doesn't. It does not.
So you're just looking at it. You just want an excuse to talk about the... Sure. Yeah. Both of those for sure.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about the paddles that these are most similar to, they still just don't outperform them. So now we're going to talk about the last paddles of today, which are the new ADIPRO ADIPRO-EDT 16s. I don't know what EDT stands for, but these are the new Adidas paddles. These are the paddles that you will see all Adidas pros using moving forward. So Rafa Hewitt,
CJ.
Mari Humberg, CJ Klinger, baby.
Jaume.
JMV. So Jaume is actually the signature on all of these paddles.
Not this one.
So, oh, not on the 14?
No.
That's so interesting because
this is the only one you can play with.
yeah, so the main difference with these, right, is we've got foam inserts on the, this is a Gen 3 paddle, foam inserts vertically on the edges and also horizontally on the top, like very straight looking. If you happen to follow Adidas on Instagram, you've probably seen that construction already. They have a really cool animation over there that I would check out. Pretty gritty carbon fiber face, I would say. Some nice grit on there. Again, and in terms of shapes, they're coming in 60 millimeter core variant, elongated, and standard, and they're coming in a 14 mil, just the elongated. And the 14 mil elongated is the only one that is dual approved USAP UPAA. So when you see your favorite pros on the PPA tour, they're using the 14 mil elongated. So let's compare the elongated paddles first.
Okay, 2 elongated. I have the 14 millimeter.
I've got the 16. So tell me about the 14. What's the first thing you noticed right off the bat?
It's pretty heavy.
They're heavy. They're heavy.
They're
yeah.
heavy.
Swing
weight wise.
Yeah, I measured the stats. The 16 mil comes in at 128, and the 14 mil comes in at 122, which are both pretty heavy to start.
Kind of insane.
Yeah. What do you think is a disadvantage to having a paddle that's so heavy?
It is very hard to add weight to it.
Agreed.
So anything you add, so if you're one of those people who likes to put edge guards on it, or you like to put on over grips, or you want to put a Hesicore grip, or you want to throw on some lead tape because you're just throwing lead tape, you just can't do as much of it because it already feels very much like a tank.
Sure.
If you're someone who plays paddle stock, you're probably like this paddle a lot more.
Yeah.
Because there's very few things that I would add to these, or I feel like I could add to them to play with them.
Yeah, or if you're just an animal and you just like high swing weight paddles, which a lot of pros surprisingly...
I know, they're like at 9 ounces.
Yeah, they weigh their paddles up real heavy.
Crazy.
Yeah, so anyway, so yeah, but with that in mind, were there any paddle, so powerful or not?
Yes, powerful.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely power paddles, definitely.
More power than the engaged paddles we hit.
Yes, definitely more powerful than those. Probably square in the power category. They're not low power, but they're not...
It's probably like 85.
Yeah, they're not like uber high power like Boomstick, Pro 4, Gearbox, GX2, etc. But still really good offensive power. Felt like I could feel the ball a bit more with the 14 and the 16, which is to be expected. But I think something that we both said that... and again, these paddles, they feel different. They feel...
They don't really feel like a Yola knockoff.
They
or
don't,
even like
shockingly.
a Yola paddle. I know, because everyone's like, oh yeah, it's just Yola knockoffs.
Yeah, unlike another paddle that, you know, is on the come up recently. Maybe we'll talk about that one in a future episode. But yeah, so... The foam layout definitely makes a difference. It doesn't, I feel like it pockets the ball decently well. It's just
a fairly responsive paddle.
But it's pretty responsive, yeah. So it is plush but responsive as opposed to muted. It is, I guess I would say it's more of a muted feel compared to, like muted but responsive as opposed to feeling tingy and plush.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel tingy.
It's not tingy to me. It is, but it does have a more, it kind of has that like a slightly stiffer response.
Remember the Evora?
Yeah.
Very Evora-ish when you hit the center.
Okay.
Just more power.
Yeah.
And a little stiffer. But it has that like ball pocketing kind of ish feel.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a stiff feel, but it's still... The ball dwells on the face decently. That's how I would describe it. What we both said was, which again, it does feel different than the Chorus Phoenix, but in the same way that the Phoenix, you practically had to do nothing to get the ball back over or kind of get good shape on it.
Because the paddle's so light and you can just maneuver and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, so this gets the same performance in that, again, it's really easy to get the ball over, really easy to get good shape, but what you were saying is that that's probably a result in this case of how it's weighted and how heavy it is, as
Yeah.
opposed
So
to
these are pretty top heavy on the balance, right?
yeah.
Which is why your swing weight's so high. But on this, it feels like the paddle kind of swings itself as long as you move your arm forward. And because of that, the ball will just kind of naturally come off the face, which is actually quite nice.
Yeah. It's sort of like it's the difference between a paddle that is going to do all the work for you, which I would say the Adidas ADIPOWER is, as opposed to a paddle that can do a lot for you, but relies more on your input and allows you to control the game a bit more, like the Phoenix does. But yeah, these are. I think another like overarching question, obviously, is Adidas has been making really terrible paddles with the metal bones. These are significantly different,
Yeah.
and in a very good way in comparison
These
to the
are
metal bones.
good.
These are good and they are usable.
They
Like
are
I would
completely
play with
usable.
this paddle if I had. You could not pay me to play with the metal bones.
Yeah.
But these are coming in at 190 pre-discount code
that's
on
way
Pickleball
better.
Central.
Way
and the
better.
pricing is so much better.
I know. So if these are under 200, then these are a buy.
Yeah, I really think that, for the first time, again, if you typically play your paddle stock, or if you prefer paddles on the heavier end and you like that sort of Gen 3 slightly stiffer but dwelly response that you get out of like a Yola 3S, for example, those just came out. Their dual approved versions came out. Those paddles are smoother though. That's their main thing, is that they smoothened them up because USAP is stricter on grit height for the friction test. But yeah, these are definitely a buy over those, and they came out at the same time. I can't believe I'm talking about an Adidas paddle that I would actually recommend to people. But yeah, again, as long as you don't like super heavy paddles.
So I would say the one thing that on both of these paddles that I would say, right? If you're worried about the high swing weight, the only place that it really affects you, I believe the Adi Pro 16 versus the 14 elongated shapes, the only place it would affect you is in hand paddles.
Yes.
Honestly, for drops, drives, serves, resets, dinks, I didn't notice the heavy swing weight. I only noticed it when I was trying to block a speed up or counter a speed up, and my hands were just slightly slower moving from side to side.
Yeah. That's typically how it happens, right? The closer you get to the net, the more your swing weight matters in terms of being able to maneuver to those shots, as opposed to, and vice versa as you're moving backwards. So yeah, I mean, again, so if you prioritize fast hands at the net, that's another good point. At maximum, you're probably not going for these in general. There's better paddles with similar performance, better maneuverability at the net if that's your priority. Especially because, let's talk now, compare the 16 standard to the 16 elongated. 16 standard, the swing weight on that is 119. Very high for a standard shape paddle. Still not one that I would personally recommend.
I honestly couldn't tell the difference between swinging the standard shape and the elongated shape.
Yeah.
It honestly felt identical. The only thing I noticed was that it was slightly shorter. Yeah,
I think like for some reason, probably due to balance point, they feel similar. So yeah, do you think that there is a point really in getting the standard shape? Did you honestly feel? I feel like the main thing for a standard compared to elongated is that the sweet spot is supposed to feel wider, maybe more consistent. Did you really feel like that in comparison?
Couldn't tell. I honestly couldn't tell.
I honestly couldn't either.
Because I think the paddle is so heavy, I just can't. The feel is different when it's so heavy, right? Because the ball and the plow through on the ball just goes because the paddle does it for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is Lewis from Pickleball Pursuit and Justin from Pickleball Etc. They did a reel recently where they talked about flared shapes, the shapes that kind of taper up as opposed to flat-sided shapes, and how that doesn't shift the sweet spot up. It actually just reduces the sweet spot towards the bottom, which I I've never understood flared shapes, why they do that for that exact reason for so long. But anyways, one of my main points when talking about that is that the only way to compensate for them reducing the sweet spot at the bottom on the flared shapes is to put more material in the paddle, because adding more material, adding more foam or whatever, increasing the weight of the internal materials ultimately will improve the sweet spot. Always. The main problem is, do you want to have the trade-off of the higher static and higher swing weight?
Yeah.
And so that is the gamble that Adidas has made here, I think. I, of course, haven't measured the internal materials and how they're weighed, but clearly they're either using more adhesive, higher density foam, or higher density polypropylene, and it's causing the swing weights to go up, but it's causing the sweet spot to feel very nice.
Yeah, but all of these felt pretty forgiving sweet spot wise.
Agreed.
The only thing that I think you and I both agreed on was when you were hitting volleys, the 14 feels worse than the 16, even though the swing weight is higher in the 16.
Yeah.
Right? But that had to do more so with the twist weight, right?
Yes.
And how the paddle would kind of move in your hand when you hit slightly off center on the 14.
Yeah, definitely the off-center shots on the 14 aren't as forgiving as it is on the 16s. Again, that has probably to do with the fact that there's literally more material, a higher thickness of core. It really does make that difference. So,
yeah. I mean, honestly, the 14 would benefit from a little bit of customization,
which is already tough because it's not super customizable.
Yeah.
So in the end, I think if you are into customizing your paddle, then these are not the move. But if you are going to go for these and you just kind of want something you can take out of the box and just rip and play well with,
grip it and rip it.
Grip it and rip it. I think the 16 mil elongated is probably the pick of the bunch.
Yes, elongated fanboy over here.
Yeah,
I've converted him.
I'm slowly converting, especially with the thin neck taper you get on these.
Yeah.
Handle is probably even bigger than it is on the Engage.
Yeah, I don't like the handle very much.
Yeah.
It's very rectangular, so the grip for me isn't that comfortable.
Yeah.
But the neck taper on all three of the paddles feels pretty great for the two-handed backhand.
Oh, nice.
I was hitting like two-handed backhand drops, and I was like, it feels so just natural for my hands to just be here that for some reason that I didn't have to really think, and the two-handed drops were going in.
Yes, they were. Yeah. So I like the handle shape. I just don't love how thick it is. So it is a thick one. I'd probably take the stock grip off. But in general, the handle construction, Adidas has never really been like a super big issue. They generally do pretty well there. It feels nice. Just have to make it thinner for the vast majority of people. But yeah, good paddle. Again, for $190 pre any promo. Again, these are going to be available. I'd recommend going to Pickleball Central for these. They may run some promos over there, so they're already $190. They're in a very recommendable price range for us, I think. But if they ever run any promos, then, and you were kind of looking at the dual 3S or kind of, you know, that.
Or if you want to say you've beaten people with Adidas paddles.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't have to specify. Then ADIPOWER Pro, the only paddles from Adidas that I would recommend. At all.
Same.
Awesome. All right. Well, that takes care of the stack here. It takes care of everything today. Let us know in the comments, did you like the tips section? What else do you want to know about these paddles? We'll go in and try to answer as many of those comments as possible. Appreciate y'all sticking around. Remember to like, subscribe, follow Aaron on socials at AaronTom_Pickleball. And yeah, with all that being said, stay happy, stay healthy, and we'll see y'all real soon. Peace.
Peace. Nice.
Awesome.
Oy. Dude, I just realized that like Aaron Tom Pickleball could have been like ATP.
Oh my God.